welcome to the first ever episode of This Week in the FCL. My name is Chris, and much like the 1997 smash hit Speed 2 Cruise Control, I'm going to try and steer this ship all the way through the action from the FCL. But thankfully, I can't do that on my own. So with me today is my esteemed co-hosts, the Sandra Bullocks to my Jason Patrick, Keith, Ryan, and Andy. How you doing, guys?
Hey Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. That is a great intro because I watched the first one and I watched a first half of Speed 2 Cruise Control and I was like, nah, I need to turn this off. This is making me nauseous. But great intro though, I love it.
Well, you know,
hell of a way to start. Hell of a way to kick off.
I may have, yeah.
That's great.
I may have slightly overhyped the movie's quality of the 1997 classic, but still. Anyway, so yeah, we're here first ever this week in the FCL show. How are you all doing? Are you all excited for the Tuesday, the league to kick off? I hope you are, because if you're not, this show could be awkward.
I got to tell you, I don't know about the other guys, but I'm very, very excited, Chris. Obviously, that's why we're all here. It's a new league, new possibilities, and a lot of great new competitors. I don't know how you can not get excited. To me, this is the equivalent of watching a wonderful villain performance by an actor like Willem Dafoe, like the 97 classic Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Keith, how about you? You all raring to go for Tuesday?
I mean, I'm not Speed 2 levels of excitement, but I'm getting there. Let me get through Speed 1 tonight first, and I'll come back to you before Tuesday. How's that? But happy to be here, happy to kick this off, and looking forward to what should be a really, really good show and a really, really good league.
Cool. Ryan, how are you feeling on the build-up to the league?
I'll tell you what, before I tell you how I'm feeling, 2 months ago, I saw a provocative movie on cable TV. It was called The Net with that girl from the bus. And let me tell you something. As far as the FCL is concerned, I am jacked up. I'm excited. New talent with a mixture of a little bit of veterans rolled in there. When you have the right ingredients mixed in for good measure, it equals a fantastical meal. So I cannot wait to see what the FCL is going to bring to the table. I cannot wait to see what the competitors themselves are going to bring to the table. Let's get right into it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of competitors, obviously this is our first show and the league's not kicked off yet. So going forward, we're going to have match previews, match breakdowns, player spotlights, things like that, and loads more. But for now, we're just going to have a look through the roster, and these guys are going to give their thoughts on who we've got in the FCL so far. So let me pop this up on the screen. Here we go. So we have this slide here. Anyone for you guys? Do any of these stand out to you in particular?
Well, for me, the two names that stand out to me on this one would be Jared Hybond and Keaton Marquis. Both competitors I've seen compete in the movie trivia Schmoedown previously. Most specifically, they've been in Eater and Geekdom matches. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they're going to do with general movie questions and so on and so forth. But the rest of these young stars coming into the fold, I haven't either heard of them or seen them play in other matches previously. So I am looking forward to seeing what they have in store for us.
Cool. So I don't know if any of you saw Knight here. He put a video out on Twitter, which I'm going to share with you guys now, so you guys can have a look, and then make of that what you will. You'll be able to maybe see what he's all about. It's pretty good, I will say.
Now, and we should say we haven't seen this yet, so this should be real exciting for all of us.
Yeah.
This is Agent John Knight.
See what he's got.
AKA The Collector. Mission brief. Now, apparently, there's a small group at large, one full of nerds, piss ants, their own little personal geek squad. No matter. But apparently they've been causing quite the ruckus. It's a new branch. That's fine, but you see, here's a problem. Knight only has one mission. Just the one. The organization, who's had their hands on literally everything, as I can see here during this paperwork, over the few years, they've been quite the talk. I have been sent to to bring them down. Too much. So I say this because apparently this first-class soccer league, whatever the hell you want to call it, stands in my way. Now, I'm only going to say this once. Just the one. For those of you who are in this little league, stay the hell out of my way. Because if your name comes across my desk, we got a problem. You won't like it. I'll love it. So, if we meet, there'll be no fun. No games. No laughs. Not from you anyway. Others maybe, because I'm quite the charming guy. But may this league be put on notice. This is your only warning. Stay out of my damn way.
So there you go. So what do you think about that? Looks like we're gonna have some good characters in the FCL anyway.
I mean, some of these. Yeah, I was gonna say some. Yeah, sorry, Keith. You want to go ahead? You can go ahead. It's okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's kind of like Luke Hobbs in Fast 5 meets Brandon Hanna's 12-minute promo.
Absolutely.
That's the initial vibe I'm getting anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great attitude to come out of the gate with. It's very strong. You want to put some intimidation into people, and clearly working hard on that character, which is something that's going to do him well as he moves forward in the FCL, because you know that they're going to be looking for people with big characters, big personalities. Maybe he's got to settle into it a little bit, but I thought some very impressive work to start. Gave me kind of Blade vibes. I don't know if that's something you guys got. I think that's what the look was going for. Should be very interesting to see how that'll play out against some of the other competitors.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, let me pop this back up. So anyone else on here stand out to anybody? Anyone you want to say anything about?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing up on that board a big name, Alex Marzonia. We've heard that name before for sure. So that should be very exciting to see how Alex competes in the FCL. We know he's a talented guy, but we don't know how smart he is when it comes to the in-the-ring knowledge. Can he play the game as well as he, puts out music? We'll find out a little bit more from Alex. I'm excited to see what happens when he does get up in the ring against somebody, and we can really get kind of a test of his mettle.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously, there's a few more new names on there as well, with Tom, Kat, and Sonny, and Fred and Maxwell. Fred, I'm not completely familiar with. I'm not familiar with at all. Never even heard of him prior to him being announced. Maxwell, obviously, I've seen him about, and he seems to like to have a little bite back. I've noticed on Twitter, he didn't shy away from Knight's video when he posted it on there anyway. And it was a good back and forth between them and many others, the Adams brothers. So Kat and Sonny, I know them. It's a funny story with those really, because they're from closer to my neck of the woods. They're in Denmark, and I actually discovered those like randomly towards the end of last year when Mandalorian season 2 was on, and then I just wanted to get as much Mandalorian content as I could, so I just went and looked for people doing reactions, mainly to that Luke Skywalker reveal at the end. Spoilers, but that's how I discovered them. They were just doing Mandalorian reactions. It's a funny little, like just a month later, not even a month later, and then they're suddenly in the Schmoedown draft. It's kind of like, I feel like I discovered them before the Schmoedown did, but still, we'll see. Okay, so if there's nothing else any of you guys want to say about this bunch, I can move over to the next slide and the next set of players. Okay, here we go. So on this slide, anyone on this slide standing out to you? I'd imagine it would be the Adams brothers, I would think, and Josh Robert Thompson as the ones you may know.
Well, yeah, for me, for sure, it's definitely Josh Robert Thompson, the first name jumping off of that board. Not just a hilarious guy, not just someone we've seen on Send Live. I mean, I've been watching Josh Robert Thompson's comedy for years before I even knew his name. Back when all he was a robot on the the Craig Ferguson late night talk show. Jeff Peterson, look it up on YouTube. Hilarious. You will die laughing at some of the stuff he did. So I'm super excited to see him play with all these different people, really let his personality out. His Morgan Freeman impression, obviously, absolutely killer. And the Addams Brothers, of course. You gotta know them from their work on YouTube. So that's 3 recognizable names. I'm just looking at these pictures. You gotta base a lot off of what you see on these pictures. I gotta say the winner on this one, definitely Ross. Look what he's got. He's coming in with a partner. That's smart.
Yeah, well, Ross is my one to watch for the season, to be honest. And I put a post out on the at This Week FCL Twitter account, just kind of going through my reasons why I think it stems from his interview he did on the on the Certain Point of View show. He did an interview on there pre-draft, and he just seems like he's a genius, to be honest. Anyway, he said he's got some special memory techniques to help remember stuff that he can transfer over to other divisions, and stuff that he even said on this pre-draft he would be able to share with his faction mates to help them in their quest for success in the Schmoedown. But obviously he wasn't drafted, and we've ended up with him in the FCL. So we're very excited to see how he gets on, to be honest. But he is a Star Wars player. So with us starting with singles division work only, will he actually have a match in the singles? Who knows? It's obviously going to be up to him. Obviously, we have got a lot of rookies here. And to be honest, I asked you guys how you're excited for the league to start. And that's the one thing that I'm excited for, the new fresh faces, and it's the unknown. You know, how are they going to do? Our summer league is going to come in and we're going to think, why aren't they in the Schmoedown already? And I'm sure there's going to be some players here that the faction managers are going to be kicking themselves for missing out on. So we'll have to wait and see. So, Keith, have you got anything about any of these ones you want to mention, highlight?
Yeah, I think Sean Chandler is an interesting one because he's got a strong enough following on YouTube as it is at the moment. So I was a bit surprised he wasn't picked up in the draft, but you've got this kind of interesting position where these reviewers, they come into the Schmoedown and it either kind of clicks or it doesn't. So maybe managers felt that they didn't want to take a risk on him in the event that it went south for the guy. So I definitely think that there's value in watching out for him moving forward in the league.
Cool. Yeah, I actually really agree with that. And I wasn't too familiar with him, but since obviously he's appeared in this Schmoedown kind of world, I have gone and checked out his channel and seen he's fantastic. So I'm surprised he as well. I agree with you. I'm surprised he wasn't actually picked up for the Schmoedown. James Shemu up here, he's someone else who's put a little video out. So I've got it to share with you guys so you can have a honest reaction to what you think of him. It's there's something about these videos for these competitors where they just think they just need to stand in front of a plain white wall because, well, you'll see.
You know, over the years, we've seen a number of competitors come and go.
It's a bit quieter than the other one.
We've seen some inglorious ones.
Is this a wrestling coach speech?
Amazing ones. We've seen.
It's not a very good one if it is.
We've seen mighty ones.
Here we go.
We've seen classy ones. We've even seen sassy ones. We've seen beauties, beasts, machines, androids, outlaws, bosses.
Okay, we know there's a history. We know.
We know our history. Very good.
We've seen wild men. We've seen demons.
You gonna raffle off all the nicknames?
Been consistently
God.
late to the party.
Mm-hmm.
While others
Feels like a drinking game.
claim that they are
Anyone taking shots in the backstage area?
We've seen ones who have claimed to be magic. We've seen ones who
bit of
have
delay.
claimed to be too smooth.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen competitors who were a little evil.
Yeah.
We've seen some dastardly competitors.
My gosh, how many
We've even
nicknames you gonna
seen
raffle
a
off?
few who have been
Can I remove my Brandon Hanna comment from previous and add it to this guy instead?
You want to? You can.
Can I get a mulligan on that?
Who has been truly sinister. That is where I come in.
Sure you do.
So, Schmoeville, I invite you to pull up a chair, have a seat, kick back, take off your shoes, stay a while, and bask in the glory that your sinister scion shall bring to bear upon the first-class league. Welcome to the chaos.
Okay, so it
Wow.
seems that
Something.
James Schmoedown has not got much of a fan base in this week in the FCL's crew then.
I mean, I did like some of the work there. I thought his delivery on a few of those nicknames was not too bad. I chuckled at the little evil. That was well done. I'm also wondering why that high school soccer coach is such a big fan of the Princess Bride. A little bit distracting to have that in the corner the entire time.
Wow.
There's definitely something there. I can see what James is going for. I'd say maybe if I were throwing some advice in James's direction, I'd say one thing and one thing only. Instead of naming every competitor that's ever been through the movie Trivia Schmoedown, maybe pick one or two that are in the FCL, set your goals, set a target, and fire away. Might make things a little bit easier next time.
That's a good point. In the words of a certain fictional character, stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target. But anyway, yeah, so clearly there's a few faces out there that are not wasting any time in making their presence known within the FCL, from Knight to James Schmoedown. Between the two, I'm going to give the better promo card to Knight over here, just saying. But James, you know what? You got plenty of time, plenty of room to grow, and all of these competitors have room to grow. So you know what? I like the initiative that some of these competitors are taking. I look forward. I just, it's one thing to talk, but it's another thing to walk the walk. And when these matches start dropping, then we can talk.
And from a place of experience, I will also just say cutting promos is not the easiest thing in the world. It does take some practice. So a lot of leeway for all these competitors, and somebody who's willing to put themselves out there, that's already, for me, a positive mark in their column. So nothing against either of these guys, just trying to throw out what I got and hopefully help out a little bit in our own way.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, great. So let's move on. Obviously, we've got Abby and him on here, and Gerard.
Gerard Butler? No,
yeah, well, so apologies for getting that one wrong. Obviously, not too familiar with all three of these, but we've got Abby on the debut match, so we'll probably speak a bit more about her when we get to the match previews shortly. Okay, so let's move on to the last slide when it comes to the rosters. I imagine the almighty, I don't think that's his name, but Cody Hall is one that's going to stand out for you, as well as obviously the late to the party guys. Yeah, anything you want to say about these guys? Highlight?
I'm just looking forward to seeing Vanessa and Robert again, because late to the party, they started out as a YouTube channel and they were fans of the MTS, and then they got invited to become a part of the MTS at one point. And plus, when you put Vanessa and Robert together and they teamed up to dress up as, I think it was cast members of Weekend at Bernie's, and they, defeat, what was it? I think it was Beast and Whitney Seibold, I think it was, they pulled in the upset. So that was absolutely huge. That's one of the biggest feathers in anyone's cap. So for them to do that and then have to, kind of work their way back up to the MTS within the FCL, but there's no shame in that, and there's no problem with that. So Robert, Vanessa, being late to the party, looking forward to seeing what you bring to it, because when you come into the arena and you play, and when you get those questions right, it is a party. So welcome back, Vanessa and Robert. We missed you. And by the way, Cody Hall, you're very good at pushing buttons as a producer or whatever in the background. As far as your competitiveness, not sure what you're going to bring to the table, but we'll take a look at your match tapes and we'll see what you got, Cody Hall, a.k.a. Spider-Man. So, we'll see.
Yeah, Keith, have you got anything?
Yeah, and let's not forget, in terms of Cody, when he played Lon, he did get a perfect round one. So, there is game tape of positive nature with Cody. I think I'm more interested in seeing Vanessa play than Robert, because Robert was always considered the stronger player on late to the party. So I'm interested in Vanessa out on her own, see how she can handle it. And then just in general, Cooper Barnes, obviously touching it in the matches, but this guy's going to bring eyes, and let's see if he can back it up with answers.
He's got a fantastic surname as well. Probably the strongest surname in the all of movie trivia, if I'm honest, but I am slightly biased with that one, I will admit. Yeah.
Could be very difficult for some of these players coming in as well. You talk about Cody Hall and Vanessa and Robert, and along with some of the other players that we've seen before in the movie trivia Schmoedown, I got to say, maybe a significant disadvantage for them coming into their matches. There is game tape on these players. You can say, I know what Robert Montano is going to be able to answer before he steps into a match, at least a little bit. You can say that about Vanessa. You can say that about Cody Hall. We've seen at least a little bit of what they can do. So there is something for their competitors to study. But really, those three, the ones that stand out, I recognize them. Obviously, all good picks. You got to know that the boat has been looking for some personality. You don't get a lot more personality than late to the party. That's for sure. Cody Hall definitely knows how to bring it in a match. I think these are all really great choices, and I can't wait to see what these other three come up with. Although I do feel that maybe Cooper Barnes might get confused with Jared Habon for some people. I don't know why.
Well, maybe. Well, they're both playing on the opening night, so we will have to wait and see with that. Yeah, and obviously David Campbell, he's obviously a British guy. Well, he's Scottish. He's up from over here with myself and Keith. He's been on every show I think there is, and he's very determined. But we'll move on now to the actual bit of a preview of the matches that are coming up, and obviously we'll probably talk a lot more about David there. So let me just slide us over here. And yeah, so how are you guys feeling with this opening card?
Well, let me jump out first. I just got to get one thing out of the way. Now that I see them right next to each other, I can't imagine why I said that Jared Haycroft.
Well, no, me neither, but still, you did. So, okay, so we've got obviously the opening match of the FCL is going to be Jared against Abby Corinne. Abby's a brand newcomer to the movie trivia. Obviously, we know Jared from his time in the actual Schmoedown. Obviously, I think he did something else before that to do with Bachelors, but I'm not going to lie, it's not exactly on my radar. But but yeah, so it's hard to kind of say which way any of these matches are going to go with so many new people in the division. In this league, but obviously Jared's got Gerard. I got that on my head. Jared's Schmoedown record is not
stellar.
It doesn't look great, but it's like I think he's got one singles defeat. But I don't know, was that just actually in a big multi match or in the free fall or something like that? I'm not sure. But I know he had
that was against Rosie Knight.
That was it. Yeah,
that was who that was.
Yeah. And then he's got one win and 3 defeats in Inagiktum, but the 3 defeats he had in Inagiktum were against Mark Donica, Mike Kalinowski, and Chandru. So, like, they're not bad players, are they?
His win did come, I believe, in a fatal 5-way matchup, which means he did have to get through some other competition. Maybe not the same caliber as the names you just mentioned, but getting through 5 people, there's always a tough match ahead of you because anybody having a good day is going to take you out, and odds are somebody's going to be having a good day against you.
Exactly, yeah. And so his record really is, I wouldn't say it's the most accurate kind of reflection on his actual ability. We're going to have to wait and see, I suppose. And obviously with Abby, we know she must have something about her to be here in the first place, to even be. So for me, it's just kind of a wait and see. Have you got anything you want to say about this matchup? Keith, Ryan, Andrew?
When it comes to this matchup between Corinne versus Haibon, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Jared because he came from something known as a reality show, and that's not real. But his inner geekdom play, yeah, he's got a few points on the board. It's fine, but his loss came at one of the greatest of all time, Mike Kalinowski, who is the GOAT, in my humble professional opinion. But outside of that, Yeah, see, Chris knows what I'm talking about. He's NWO/corruption for life. There you go, kids. So Jared versus Corinne. I'm going to give the edge slightly to Corinne because I want to see what she can do, and I just want to see Jared lose again because seeing Jared lose to KO was fantastic in the heyday. As far as Barnes versus Campbell, I don't know who these guys are. I don't know what their strengths or their weaknesses are, so I'm just looking forward to seeing what they can do within the ring and who's going to come up with the victory at the end of that particular matchup. But other than that, this is a solid card here, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Absolutely. I'll make mine quick on this one. I don't honestly know too much about Corinne at all, Abby Corinne. She's got a great picture, obviously. Jared, we know a little bit about. I think it's fair to say, Chris, that I agree with you that his record may not be reflective, but even if you're being fair, he had a bit of a middling record in the Schmoedown. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. A little bit of hard work, sees the right movies, and again, any day, you get the right questions. I think he can still do pretty well. So I'm excited to see what he has to offer, if he's improved at all. And for Abby, this is a real make or break, because if he doesn't have a great match, if he just has a middle-of-the-road match against her and she still can't come up with the victory, that's not a good sign. She's going to want to win. But I know that, Keith, you have a lot you want to say about this.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, I think I was taking a quick scroll on the guy's timeline on Twitter there, and I noticed that Abby seems to be very IG heavy in terms of her movie watching. So I would not be surprised if on the wheel we see 4 Inner Geekdom slices between what Jared's done in IG and based on this kind of small outward knowledge that Abby is given. So that's kind of where I think that could kind of be decided. And then on the main event, I think Barnes has to have something about him other than, an audience behind him. But I think Campbell's going to come in hot as well. So that's definitely going to come down to the 3 and the 5, no question.
Yeah, I agree, especially about Campbell coming in hot, because he, like I said, he's put himself everywhere on all of these fan shows, all of the fan shows. He's been on them, putting his name out there, making sure everyone knows who he is. And I did speak to him earlier in the week, and he gave me some words to put on a post I did on the Twitter account for this match, and he is just like determined to not let the Schmoedown faction managers ever overlook him ever again, and he seems very keen on being the first FCL champion. So obviously time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's pop this off the screen now. We've gone through the match previews. Here we all are. So we had some announcers announced for this opening night, with it being Brad and Steph. Was Steph? Yeah, Steph. I don't suppose you're surprised that Brad's on the desk, no? Bear in mind, he's the chairman. He can do what he wants.
Not only is he the chairman, he's an incredibly talented performer. He's the boat. He's big bad Brad. You don't take a talent like that and put him on the bench, especially not when you're starting up a project like this. I'm sorry, but if anybody but Brad Gilmore was on that desk for the first match, do you know what I would be saying? What the hell happened to your brain, Brad Gilmore? Have you gone nuts? Did you make a mistake somewhere? Were you busy with something else more important? Of course, Brad Gilmore is going to be on the desk.
I don't know if he will be going forward all matches, though. Obviously, he's probably going to be busy, so we'll have to see how he gets on. And obviously, it was announced, Rachel Cushing announced that she's going to be on the desk for some matches too. So that'd be nice to see her back again. Oh, yeah. So is there anything else you want to say about the league as it's coming up? You're ready for, or nothing?
I would say just bring it.
Yeah. I think we're all in that kind of boat. We're all just excited, raring to go. So I think we'll probably finish this first smaller episode of This Week in the FCL here. Where can everyone find you guys, Keith?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at KKilduffMedia.
Cool. Andrew?
Well, it's been an absolute thrill talking to you guys so far today. I can't wait until we can finally stop saying I don't know a lot about this player, because we are excited about the FCL and all the players coming up through the ranks. We love movie trivia on YouTube. Of course we do. Going to check it out. You want to check me out, you can check me out on the Movie Trivia Face-Off on YouTube. Do a little bit of announcing over there. And, of course, always on Twitter at Kelk, Andrew, K-E-L-K. Andrew, go ahead and check that out as well.
Okay, and Ryan, where can everyone find you?
The bigger question is, where can't you find me? But I will say this. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5, and also check out our YouTube channel known as Nerd Culture, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. New videos are being posted each and every week on our YouTube channel, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at ChrisBarnes_UK, and obviously tweeting quite a lot from the at This Week FCL account, where we're going to be some mini match previews put out there, some little player spotlights put out on there as well. And also on Instagram at The Movie Barnes, where I very amateurly review movies. But apart from that, it's been a great first show. I've enjoyed it, and it's been great talking to you all guys. And thanks for being here with us.
Pleasure.